A Hairier Problem. Rise of the Furball. Chapter 22 of Apples and Raspberries. If Raspberry was asked what was one of the worst things about being the most proficient dark magic user in Equestria was, she would immediately say her horn. Well, obviously the fact her horn was a dead ringer for one of the most well-known features of her infamous predecessor, causing most ponies who saw his true form to run away in fear. The problems went deeper than that. Namely, she had to deal with the fact that Sombra had manipulated the magic within him to shape his horn into a weapon, as both his curvature and razor-sharp tip were custom-made such that he could impale and gore any pony he so desired. She, as his descendant, had inherited far more feral features of Sombra, such as the fangs along the blasted horn, but because she wasn't a vicious tyrant with total disregard to others, Frigga's forehead extension was extremely difficult to manage when she had to drop her disguise spell, which forced her horn to physically act like a regular unicorn's. The only problem was her disguise spell couldn't be set to passive, needing to be set to conscious while she was active, so she had to sleep in her unnaturally changed form. She often used that if pillows were sentient, they would fear her as the bloodiest murder of all pillows of all time. Fortunately, on her usual income, running through pillows rapidly was quite an expensive drain on her available funds, so having to sleep in odd positions often was the only way to ensure she could sleep in pillows at all. The fact was, there was a spell, a really easy one, that could protect pillows from being destroyed by accidental impalement. Mr. ought to know when, because for all her power as the bastard heir to Sombra, she was useless at any kind of magic that were not the dark persuasion. Thus, it had taken her a long time to fall asleep in a way that was even remotely comfortable, and posed no threat to destroying the most expensive beddings he ever been in contact with. So it was understandable she was in a rather sour mood with some loud noise. She couldn't really identify what it had been thanks to the magical soundproofing in the bedroom. It particularly woke her up. Then slightly even more sour when she had just fallen back to sleep, only to be rudely reawakened by a loud banging at the door. "I'm coming, I'm coming!" She hollered, practically attempted to get out of bed, only to fall off it instead. It was probably one of the guards stationed outside her room, since technically she was still on adjustment for more equestrian law violations than the top 3 criminals in the country combined. Going to ask if she knew what that noise was had been, even though certainly other guards, probably bad ponies from the night guard fold, would certainly covered half the castle by now. It was her intention to make clear that the poor sod on the other side of the door was punishment for interrupting her sleep. So as he threw the door open and found a ragged-looking Twilight Sparkle on the other end, all pretense of giving some poor guard absolute hell disappeared. Oh, Princess Twilight! I had no idea it was you. It's fine. Normally I wouldn't bother any pony this late at night, and I'm sorry if I woke you up in any kind of manner," apologized Twilight, who definitely was so happier to be awake at this hour than Raz. "But this is a sort of a side problem." No. I'm happy to do anything you need of me, Your Highness. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure what kind of problem you need from me, other a regular unicorn couldn't handle, especially since you're the element of magic. No offense, of course. None taken. But this isn't something that regular magic can solve. I fear not even that can be solved. That being me, anyway. I already tried to merely find a solution and I made it worse. Raz pale. Oh no. Don't tell me that asshole who stole Heliodor still has the anti-magic hex I put on his horn. I mean, yes, I was going to kill him, but surely you understand I wouldn't burn more magic energy to permanently decorate his horn. If crystal tongues haven't fallen off by now, Ava Carolot would be stealing your praises. If you let that pompous nitwit live the rest of his days like that, to be honest. But no, it's much more serious and we're kind of wasting time just standing here, so will you please follow me? It's alright, I'd like Healy to come with us. As if on command, the machine suddenly appears and he slipped down on his perch on Raspberry's horn. I noted how Heliodor's feet positioned themselves, and that Raz's horn, clearly being more oriented for digging on an enemy's chest than Twilight's own horn, was probably able to do what seemed impossible by virtue of her horn being different. Investigation would need to be carried out earlier. Well, considering you nearly killed the entire ruling class of Canterlot when you temporarily lost him, there isn't much of a choice, is there? Nervously chuckled the princess as she glanced Raspberry and her pet to see if she could shed some light on the one thing no pony wanted to return. Oh, I do hope this isn't one of your pranks, Pinky. A lady does need her beauty sleep, complained Verity, her face still slightly damp from Pinky's dragging her to the bathroom, splashing enough water on her countenance to fill an ocean.
This isn't a laughing matter, Rainy,
carried Pinky. Yeah, mostly 10 less carry and bouncy than usual.
And I just think I'm good at knowing what Matt is laughing and what Matt isn't.
Oh yes, pardon me for being skeptical. After all, it's not like the other time you and Rainbow teamed up to make me think it was raining lobsters with a rain cloud, and you throwing plastic lobsters at my window in the middle of the night.
You have to admit, you got those pretty good rares.
In the voice of Pinkie Pie, imitating Rainbow Dash, the pony gets attracted to the voice appearing from the cheeks in the hallway, with Fluttershy on a rarity-colored robe beside her. Hearing the plume Pegasus instantly dying with the next line. But trust me, this isn't a prank, unless Twilight's trying to pull something on us. Rarity was shocked, turning to Pinkie for answers.
Why didn't you tell me Twilight sent you? Why didn't she get me personally like the rest of you? She didn't get me, Rarity,
answered Fluttershy.
Rainbow Sail was faster this way, and, well, no offense, but Pinkie would have gotten you up faster than Twilight ever could have.
Oh, well, my apologies, Pinkie. With Pinkie and Rainbow leading the way, Rarity and Fluttershy followed their friends with concern. And what Twilight had told the two pranksters of their little group was as serious as to make Pinkie not even giggle at anything, then it would have been good. Especially not when their destination was revealed to be Applejack's room. Or, at least right outside Applejack's room. There was a small regiment occupying the area right in front of the door, with an unusual mix of both day and night guards, bad ponies and regular Pegasus ponies normally not even being awake during the same time periods, much less assigned to the same job.
Oh, hi, girls,
half-yawned out, tired Applebloom, seeing her haunches laying on a slightly less sleepy lightning dust.
You know what, Applejack Queen? All this commotion is because no pony knows where she is. Just that she's not answering her door.
To the contrary, Applebloom, said Twilight, who came in from the other side of the hallway with Raspberry in tow. I know Applejack is in there. The fact she isn't answering the door is what concerns me.
Your Majesty! Exclaimed one of the guards. Princess Celestia ordered that prisoner.
This barrel is a guest, soldier! The business involving her will be handled by the crown, and after the unfair treatment she received earlier, it would be wise not to give her reason to go off on any pony. Furthermore, while my fellow princesses have required that if Miss Barrel is to leave her room at any time, she is to be accompanied by at least 2 guards. There are extraordinary circumstances, and so I am temporarily suspending her orders.
Understood, Your Highness.
That still doesn't explain why Raspberry needs to be here, Princess, said Rainbow. That, Ellie knows something's the matter with Applejack. She is something of a heavy. Lightning does put a hoof on her fellow Pegasus to stop her. Because I'm the one who got the princess involved here. But the reason I know something is wrong, well, most of you already know the why of it.
What?
Exclaimed Applebloom.
You don't mind, please?
Yep, afraid so. Didn't any of you hear that noise from earlier? Everyone glanced. The guards didn't know what the sign Pegasus was talking about. It felt like they should. The ponies for Ponyville afraid of what would become of Applejack. Raspberry afraid of what this meant for her, and Heliodor only because Raspberry had blanched. Twilight needed to be the leader as due to her role of princess, and the fact that she's been leader even before she was princess, but let's not split hairs, was the first to get her voice back. So, now that we established why Applejack may not be answering your door, we'll go in. To everybody's surprise, Raspberry merely shook her head to regain composure before answering. I say it's probably for the best if I go in there.
No!
Exclaimed Fluttershy.
You don't know what we know.
Applejack told me earlier after my little, incident at the trial.
Oh, well, still probably not a good idea to.
Raspberry nickered in annoyance. Look, while I appreciate the concern, it just isn't at all involved what we all seem to think, that I'm applying for help for the job. It may not be obvious, but I had my throat torn out by an angry ghost a few nights ago. The only reason I'm not dead is because I'm the closest thing to a resurrected King Sabra currently alive. So just give me a few minutes, Han. She intentionally cut herself off as she teleported to the room without warning. Heliodor, cut off by a guard by the sudden disappearance of his roost, fought madly for a brief seconds before landing on the ground next to Fluttershy, who was his favorite of the ponies for Ponyville. This went unseen by Raz, who found herself on the other side of the door, completely in the pitch-black room. Who's there? Came the unusually husky, but still identifiable accent of the orange farm pony. Applejack, it's me, Raspberry Barrel. Why aren't you answering the door? Because I can't. Can't let any pony sleep me right now. Personal basis and all. Come on, whatever it is, you probably look better than me. I mean, I'm an evil-looking red and black unicorn with a horn meant for stabbing things. No, wait, I'm all that, and my mane is a total mess. Though I probably do still look better than Rarity when she isn't wearing a solid half-inch of makeup on her face. And to think of it, this got a shuffle tackle from Applejack. Was intensely was a good sign to Raspberry, prompting her to walk slowly towards the source of AJ's voice. It's gonna be alright, but every pony's worried sick about you and—
Don't come near me!
barked Applejack eagerly. Please, for both your sakes. I don't want to hurt you. I'm afraid if you don't want me to see you, Applejack, you're gonna have to make me stop walking closer. Applejack sparked from her spot into corn to pounce on Raspberry, desperately hoping the unicorn was sensitive time, but could not see the horror concealed within the shadows. She got within a foot of Raspberry before she found herself right to a halt in midair, falling with what felt like magic helping her up. The road then instantly became bathed in light as Raspberry's horn lit up like a heartwarming tree, revealing what Applejack had been hiding. Oh, was all Raspberry could make out. Yeah, now do you understand why I've been trying to hide here? I can't let any pony see me like this. Me, being a werewolf, that was supposed to be leaked last year! You told me, Applejack, but clearly whatever cured you was wrong. If there's anything I learned from over the past few days, still could hide something like a monstrous appearance for such as ours, for those who really wanted to help. Now go let your friends in and your sister. We're gonna get to the bottom of why your lycanthropy is back, okay? Okay. Good. Celestia woke from her trance to discover somebody was knocking on the door. Come in, she hastily replied before getting back to work. No point in hiding it now, especially when the sound of the door closing, she turned to see Discord assuming his true shape from his unicorn disguise. You know, it's very unbecoming of one who is the Princess of the Sun to be doing late-night business like this, summoning one such as I to a private chat and late-night reading. Don't play coy, Discord, chided Celestia, trying to face the small mountain range of documents laying her bedroom's door. I know it was you who gave Lightning Dust and Apple Moon the feather, and told them a lie about where they found it. Are you accusing me of having stolen the Phoenix? Why, I never. The Chimera pretended to greatly be offended with dramatic over-exaggeration of our movements. Even after I told you my motivations were purely in the interest of your mother, you treat me like filth. But in stealing the Phoenix long enough so that he temporarily died at just the right time to flush out Raspberry's true form sounds like something you do. After all, you managed to spin the millennium-late sprouting of those plunder seeds that kidnapped me and Luna into giving Twilight an important friendship lesson, did you not? Oh, please. I know you're like your mother enough that you got a slight kick out of watching the entire country go to pieces because their beloved ruling pair vanished for a couple of hours. You thought the whole thing Twilight caused with the doll was a riot, remember? I beg to differ. I had no such— Discord raised an eyebrow. You were laughing hysterically in the royal gardens right before you went to deal with it, which, if you recall, I've been left in by following my second imprisonment in stone. Like I said a while back, I wasn't deaf to the world while stone. Celestia shook her head. Fine. I admit it was somewhat nice to see a little chaos happen because every pony looks to me and Luna as goddesses. On the bright side, it did help reassure Luna of her standing with the public. She's still sort of touchy on how the public perceives her. See, everything worked out in the end, all thanks to the little unintended chaos. Discard chuckled. But getting back to the business at hand, I suspect the impromptu sea of parchment in front of you has something to do with recent events. Also, just to clear the matter up, I truly had nothing to do with Blue Blood stealing the Phoenix. If anything, it went to when it was dictating my actions as per your mother's request. The Alicorn nodded, announcing the latter topic and continuing to discuss it on the former subject. Yes, as you probably know by now, Raspberry Barrel isn't in the census records. Her birth was submitted unlike any other foal, but it's the only reference to her within any official documents. As if there was something, or some pony, trying to hide her. Heliodor too, for that matter, as any inquiries for registration for him as a pet came back negative. Discord smirked. You're looking too hard, your highness. You're so overlooking the obvious. What are you talking about? The Chronicle shrugged. Think about it. That mare is scared of what other ponies think when they see her real body. It's almost certain she skipped town because some pony learned the truth. That's the present I get to as to why she never really settled down. So, that when she inevitably needed to leave, she could cut all ties easily. No point in registering anything. Just make it harder to cover her tracks. True, conceded Celestia. But as I discussed with Luna a little while ago, there's still no explanation as to why a magic evaluator never was sent down to check her magic when it started to manifest. Well, first off, she says dark magic is the only kind of magic she can use. So obviously, no pony wants to be responsible for raising a unicorn, who at that young age would skill in stuff some were load. And second, I was just looking a bit more closely. Discord gestured with one particular sheet, a fake news article that had been attached to one of the many papers now scattered on the floor. Celestia lifted it up with her magic to look at it close. When she realized what Discord had noticed about the document, her blood ran cold. Back at Applejack's room, the guard outside remained at their post, though they didn't know what was going on, for when Raspberry had opened the door, she only insisted only the princess and her personal entourage were allowed in. The reaction of said entourage to Applejack's lycanthropy was pleased, though every pony tried to make the best of it. A.T., look at me, A.T., come on, pleaded Twilight, trying to make eye contact with Applejack and not getting anywhere. Ah, I can't! How am I supposed to look at y'all in the face when I can't even bear to look at my own in the mirror no more?
Oh, please, we went through this before, darling, said Rarity. Everything turned out fine then, and honestly, you still look better than me in the morning after I wake up and tidy myself up.
You mean like that one time on the train where you kept demanding we be quiet and you appeared with pickles in your eyes? Snarked Rainbow, trying to hide the mood.
The pickle slices were from serving my beauty, Rainbow. You should try it sometime.
Can't. Lightning would probably lick him off my face when not trying to do a handle of our mustache on me. Oh, come on! Whined Lightning. I don't like pickles anyway, though you used ham slices. Gah! Barked Applejack, pulling the sides of her hat down over her ears with a pause, while taking care not to punch her father's headpiece. I won't eat million guyan. It took me forever to get the taste out of my mouth. That horrible, awful taste. Oh, right, though, yeah. Dusk grimaced apologetically. Sorry, Applejack. Didn't mean to,
Well, if need be, I can always,
interjected Fluttershy, trying to get off the awkward topic.
Well, the thing I was doing before, when Applejack hadn't fought Sablon, I can still do it.
But what about an alternative? Like, you know,
Bones Meanie!
Oh, but what about Boshi King? Piped up Pinky, naturally upbeat in more situations.
You know that when work box like burying pelts, not eating them. Why do dogs like burying pelts? You never go back to get them.
Actually, Pinky. Sorry, Twilight. Nerd Mosey Gates.
Since dogs are descended from wolves, it's an essential artifact of their biology of when they would bury their infants food for later. Since over time the need for that was eliminated for dogs, they only like to bury them. Since werewolves aren't really connected to dogs' biology,
That's Fluttershy.
there's no reason to assume bones are a natural alternative.
Well, I'd like to know if there's a natural alternative to being a werewolf, complained Applejack, somewhat oblivious to discussing a hoof. I mean, wasn't it that book you always try where that one stallion said killing the werewolf who bit you was how you cured this damn curse?
Wait, what?
Asked Raspberry skeptically.
Well, I'll admittedly don't know the first thing about the whole lycanthropy works. It was a curse from dark magic. Simply killing the one who spread it isn't going to remove it.
That's why I wanted you here, Raz, declared Twilight, a bit of self-satisfaction in her voice.
But that wasn't a cure for lycanthropy. Then what did Sablon stuff accomplish?
Dark Unicorn could only give a sheepish grin.
Well, any number of things. I can't say right off the top of my head a definitive answer, since I never examined a lycanthropy spell. Nor was I there for whatever happened when the Sablon was killed. Though, I'm guessing he was the werewolf who bit you, Applejack?
And that in a disc, possibly. At AJ, we're not sure how she got, really.
Then, if we're going to get anywhere, somebody needs to tell me exactly what happened when the cure was achieved.
And so, the ponies recounted the time Applejack was a werewolf. From the beginning, when Applejack was first attacking the salvaging of the car, weird behavior that led up to her first transformation, the Cerberus incident, Applejack's mysterious summoning by Sibyl, a chase with the car and the truck, Applejack's weird glowing after dealing the fatal blow, and how they all temporarily been transported to another plane of existence where even the spirits of Queen Faust and the Apple Parents and Sir Lycanthropy have been extinguished. Then he explained how Lightning Dust noticed her first small changes months after the tussle with Applejack. Twice ill-advised attempt to diagnose the problem with herself Lightning Dust into full werewolf status. And how the only rational explanation for the delay being how Pegasus ponies have thinner blood compared to unicorns and earth ponies. Raspberry took it all in, trying to work out exact underlying events, which wasn't exactly easy as he knew the ins and outs of dark magic like the back of her hoof. So he had been one to really exercise that knowledge in regular practice. But eventually she came to some conclusion, which made her heave a heavy sigh. Okay, I think I can explain why the cure didn't work, but none of you are gonna like it. The eager, inquisitive looks on all present ponies indicated she should go on, which she did. First off, I'm guessing my infamous ancestor made such that the lycanthropic curse was something of berserk type of cursed nature, one that feeds off the eternal magic well inside all ponies. Since non-unicorns have mostly passive magic concentrated through their blood, the curse was probably refined to best work on earth ponies. As for the experiments up in the Crystal Empire, it's mostly what Sombra had to work with, and so it's not as effective in the short term on Pegasus ponies with thinner blood like Lightning. But what about unicorns? Asked Appleplum. I mean, Marius tore your throat out and...
So,
went Rarity as he immediately passed out from the gruesome mental imagery. Every pony glanced over quickly as he saw she was fine, and focused on Appleplum. Yes, well, she did that weird now she isn't a ghost, now she is kind of thing, and made your throat bleed over the place. Oh, I was saying you're going to die or become a werewolf yourself. Raspberry chuckled. Well, the latter wasn't going to happen, based on what you told me. Lycanthropy can only be transferred from the infected to the victim. It's just contact between moisture from one to the other. Usually, exactly as the lessons say, is saliva from the werewolf being contacted with the blood of the victim via bite to a vital point like the jugular. Since Vista was a ghost, she therefore didn't have the bodily parts needed to generate saliva to do the act in the first place. But don't tell that my usable did. If I was anything like a normal unicorn, yes, I should have died then and there. But as a side effect of the dark magic within me, I naturally can recover from fatal wounds very rapidly. I don't know if I could simply reattach a limb if it was cut off, though I never want to be in such a position. While things like having my throat torn out really fucking hurt when I'm wounded, most fatal injuries were no worse to me than you made a large cut on my foreleg with a knife. It healed up practically in no time at all. But enough about how I'm suddenly so stupid Mary Sue, right down to the stereotypical color scheme. I'm a terrible example of what happens to unicorns if they get bitten. With regular unicorns, the bottom line is that while they are too about slow to show any signs of lycanthropy as Pegasus ponies, if the werewolf bites down long enough to prolong the connection, it doesn't matter what kind of pony is the victim, they're going to turn almost immediately.
Well, this still doesn't explain what happened to Applejack in either case, said Lightning.
Raspberry took a deep breath. Yeah, I know. Consider everything I just said a primer for how lycanthropy works. Reason being that if Sable was basically a super prototype werewolf, his strain of the curse would be more potent than the regular, though after 1,000 years, where he was the only survivor, probably the only strain left in existence. Regardless, with his version of the curse, it got a secondary parasitic that creates a connection between the original werewolf and every single other pony turned a werewolf, giving him some control over them.
Like that helly thing he did on Applejack's final day as a werewolf,
realized Rainbow.
or at least when she stopped running for some time.
Exactly. Killing him, and I do need to stress this, but it didn't need to be Applejack who killed him. Whatever Bronze Seal said was wrong, and there's no aspect of dark magic that works that way. Severed connection. There only been a single strand curse connecting him and Applejack. That would have cured her. But because it's a two-strand curse, having only weakened half to the point, Applejack appeared cured, but was a passive carrier. Her blood mutation gives her immunity to magic drains. Also helped keep the curse down, but it's always been there.
Well then how did I turn back into a werewolf?
Asked Applejack. Raspberry's brow furrowed. That's where I'm drawing a blank. Since the only way for the curse to become active again is to be exposed for a moderate amount of time to dark magic. Not any old dark magic, but the same wavelength as the one who originally cast the spell. So you need to be exposed to dark magic similar to King Sump. Realized he's hit her hard. Oh no.
Wait, isn't your magic similar to King Sue?
Inquired Pinky.
There was the whole freezing every pony thing you did with your magic. when Applejack reacted really weird towards, and then Pinky stood up when Twilight shot her an angry look. The reason for Applejack's return to lycanthropy was clear enough. You tell him, Millie, you're the one who turned Millie into this again! Raised Applejack. Self-control fading as he stood up. At one point, the entire world was the bastard son of that damn cunning, and all because you did it accidentally! Any attempt by Applejack to once again attack Raspberry was stopped by Twilight holding the werewolf down with her magic. No, stop it, Applejack! Hurting Raspberry won't solve anything! I know it won't! Shouted the enraged werewolf. Uncle and Mike understand what it's like to be Millie and Lightning, that this isn't something I can just brush under a table! I don't think we have a choice, Stella retorted Apple Bloom, trying over to position herself between the now horrified at once he accidentally done Raspberry and the erased apple farmer. If what I remember for the whole affair is true, Sybil's pretty darn close to King Sofa, and what that book saying to Wood and I found out about werewolves, is how King Somber was actually scared of what he might see below into. I was just thinking maybe so no werewolf got a chance to buy him could feel to affect him. Our blood carries a mutbile or something that makes us immune to whatever lightning is. So probably you couldn't make a raspberry werewolf since he carries King Sabella's blood. All Applejack's rage vanished, verbally berated by her younger sister, leaving the room quiet. Then a burning question posed itself in her head. Apple Bloom, what do you mean, our blood? Billy sighed. Look, if what Raspberry said is true, then you were a werewolf the whole time you were cured. You did a lot more harm with a werewolf than accidentally ever does a fair werewolf there and now. What are you talking about, Apple Bloom? It's not like I went around buying another pony. Oh no, don't tell me I did anything like what you're trying to say. No, Applejack, you didn't do nothing. At least not intentionally. And I don't blame you for this. Apple Bloom, who up to that point been avoiding direct eye contact with her big sister, and pointed looked Applejack dead in the eye. Was the only way to explain what I've been hiding for every pony. She not even blinked once as she joined her sister in wolf form. Silence once again. This time it was both out of shock and there was somewhat awkward feeling in the air. So, I'm guessing you're not gonna let me throw a werewolf sister party? Asked Pinky to Twilight. No. As much as the party would help enlighten mood, Pinky, I think we need answers from Raz and Apple Bloom more than anything right now.